You know, we've talked about a lot of things on this channel. We've talked about Mushroom Man, Dog Man, Sausage Man, even. But what we really should be talking about is the man in the suit man, the costume man. Who is he? What are his crimes? We don't know. Yeah, everyone gangster until I put on my secret suit. At least that's what I think this is going to be about. I don't fucking know. I haven't seen the whole thing yet, okay? But if I'm right, I want $1 million right now. Hand it over. Please. But yeah, this is an analog horror, okay, and it's popular, okay, it's big. And I'm pretty sure it's actually based off of that one Godzilla meme where, you know, he's looking at you with these hyper-realistic Dr. Phil eyes. So, of course your boy's hooked. I had to see what this one was all about. And I've been meaning to talk about it for a while now, so, let's get straight into the man in the suit, shall we? The Godzilla suit incident, 1954. We know shit's about to get serious whenever there's a year starting with the numbers 1 and 9. An image taken from the original Godzilla movie slowly fades into view, followed by a clearer image of Godzilla himself. The person in the Gojira suit was unknown at the time, but the story the actor has with Gojira is odd. God, I fucking hope this doesn't turn into some fetish shit. This is a photo of him in the suit. Here's another picture. He got the acting job of being and wearing the Gojira suit. Very interesting wording here, by the way. I'm not sure if it was intentional or not, but to be Gojira and to act as Gojira are two completely different things. Foreshadowing. Also, I love the little typo here. It's very cute, very charming. Gorjira, you know? It's the little things, guys. It's the little things. But wait, that's not all. A hidden message flashes on the screen here for the briefest of moments. And oh my, I am terrified. Here's the translation. Godzilla may be a monster, but I wonder if that's what I should be. And if I should be the body of this big guy, this big... That's not what it says. God, I can't fucking read, sorry. Of this giant beast, so that I can become one with him. And the actor fell in love with it. He would wear the suit most of the time to the point that you never saw his actual face, a Toho producer. Even when we take breaks, he would just wear the suit. The suit would sometimes heat up, but he didn't care, actor on set. It was like if he was addicted to the suit, like if it's calling his name, a Toho producer. It has gotten to the point where he brings the suit home even though we tell him not to. Co-director, oh god, this shit. Yep, I knew it. This is gonna be some fetish shit. See, I fucking called it. God, why did no one fucking tell me? Why, oh, why did no one warn me? God, I'm gonna throw up. I'm gonna throw up, and it's your fault, you in particular. He wouldn't really speak a lot, but he would say that his name is Goji, basically the nickname we gave to the suit. Actor on set. See, that's where you fucked up by giving the gimp suit, the costume a cute little nickname. See, that's just going to please him. That's just going to get him more titillated, okay? The last time he was seen on set, he was acting in the suit until he just stopped. This is the photo that was taken. Several minutes later, he would start to walk and stop yet again. His breathing was muffled, yet he was also breathing oddly. Oh, was he now? The director thought this was a joke, poking at him to get back in place, but he wouldn't budge. After 2 odd minutes of oddly breathing, he would tell people to check on him and to make sure he takes off the suit. I love how this is when they decide to finally make him take off the suit, you know? Him taking the costume home to, consummate his love with it wasn't enough, but oh, okay. Once he starts gooning inside the suit where everyone can see, okay, now he's taken it a step too far. You know, we don't care what you do with the suit in the privacy of your own home. Just, don't do it in front of us, buddy, all right? This was the photo someone took before the person on the right saw what was inside. The man opened the costume to see that he was growing into the suit. His flesh would slowly rip away as he tried to open the pocket where the actors would enter the suit. The suit was now his skin. Somehow his body deformed to the point he was filling inside the suit. This is what they expected. This is what they found. God, that's so fucking horrible. But seriously though, just imagine how fucking stupid he looks outside of that suit. I'm sorry. Now, there's a few interesting things that I want to take note of here in the description. If you look closely, you'll notice that the location is set to Hiroshima, which, if you guys don't know, was tragically bombed by the US in 1945, literally killing hundreds of thousands of people. This is the English translation of the description. Godzilla may be a monster, but it doesn't seem to me that way. He is rather God. We control our world according to our own order, and I will become the flesh of beasts. I will be Godzilla's host. Because I want to become a god that is respected by people. I want to be this beast's meat, and the fear of which one is wrong. I'm not a movie monster. This is Goji, law of good and evil. I will live inside the beast, because he is the only one who can help us. There is no god, just me. Goji. The second episode in the series kicks off with an old school Godzilla ad, and I'm pretty sure this was a really big franchise back in the day, so they were just raking in the dough, making as many movies out of it as possible. The ad shown here is taken from the movie Godzilla Raids Again, where he fights Gigantus the fire monster. I don't know the exact plot of the movie, but I'm sure you can put, two and two together at this point. A big monster fight other big monster and then break big building. That's basically it. You'll get the gist. You get the gist of it. Look at you. You're so smart. So intelligent. Look at you go. Well, that was a nice little break, but now, unfortunately, we are being thrown back into the thick of it once again. The man in the Gojira suit still came along for the next movie. If they stopped and told anyone about the suit man, Toho would have been sued and ridiculed for keeping such a disgusting creation. They decided to keep him out of the public eye so they could bank off the success of Gojira. Toho wanted to find out the ultimate cause for all of this. The man in the suit has been examined by private doctors. The doctors weren't really sure about the cause, saying it might be a pill, but they weren't certain. What they were certain about was the outcome. Whatever he took or had made his skin and flesh inflate in the inner suit, melting and fusing together. Somehow the outside of the suit was now his skin. His bones were rearranged inside to match the height of the suit. Off topic, but do you think that the man in the suit and the dog man from Dog Nightmares would be friends? It's a genuine question, seriously. Like, you think they'd go out to the Irish pub together and grab a pint? I mean, I'm really not saying that anyone should make fan art of this. No, I'm not saying that. It's merely a suggestion. He can somehow feel the outer layer of the suit, as if it was his own skin. This is the part where the story loses me slightly. I'm sorry, I'm gonna sound like a Karen here for a second, but because of the fact that he can feel the outer layer of skin, almost brings a supernatural element to it. Not that any of this is natural by any means. God, I fucking hope not. But there's some basis of truth to it, or at least that's implied in the beginning, right? I mean, I've heard stories where people have become fused with pieces of furniture and all, so I can kind of buy into the skin fusion part and all, but wouldn't there need to be some sort of neural pathway for him to feel any type of sensation from the outer layers of the suit? Again, that's a very, very small nitpick, and I'm almost 100% that this story is meant to be looked at in a more symbolic way rather than literal, but that's just my little old opinion, okay? I'm gonna shut the fuck up, okay? I'm sorry, stop yelling. It turned out that he could see out of the eye sockets of the suit, but his eyes were bloodshot. His eyes were bloodshot. Okay, this is seriously getting into some hyper-realistic blood territory right here. If you guys know what I mean by that, if you know, you know. Like, you don't need to tell us. My boy's eyes were bloodshot, okay? Like, we can fucking see it. I can see it, okay? His eyes literally look exactly like mine right now, okay? I know, believe me. The name for the actor who plays Angurius is classified, apparently. People on set noticed how he was odded out by the man in the suit. No one cared to tell him what happened and what he has become. The man in the Gojira suit was very cooperative. Even after losing his vocal cords, he could still make noises like one of an animal. Everything would go great until the last scene they had to do where they would both fight. And then a little scene from the little movie plays out here where they both fight, and by fight, I mean run into each other repeatedly over and over again. man. And that happens for a little while until Godzilla Man bite into Angurius Man. And this, my friends, is very, very bad. You don't want that to happen to you, okay? He had actually bitten directly onto the actor's head, causing him to bleed profusely. And I love how they felt the need to add that part there, that this was never part of the script. Oh, it wasn't? Oh, Really now? I would have never guessed. Anyways, the unnamed actor kept screaming for help, but it was too late. The damage had been done, and he stopped moving. Meanwhile, Gojira would circle around the unconscious actor like a rabid cow, preventing anyone from coming near him. Eventually, however, they were able to retrieve the actor because when he woke up, he started shaking around a little bit. And I guess this was enough for Gojira to say, "Oh shit, my bad, bro." Well, long story short, when they tried taking off the suit, guess what happened? You think that suit came off? You think it just slid right off like butter on a knife? No, it fucking didn't. A picture was somehow taken when the man in the suit roaring and protecting the unconscious actor, there's a little typo in there, but when he was roaring and protecting the unconscious actor, this is the picture. I'm not gonna say it, And then, you guessed it, they do the whole thing where they show what they expected to see and what the outcome of the situation actually was. Not, of course, without a super secret message flashing on the screen. This is the translation. Wake up. You have a purpose. Stop trying to stop the inevitable. Look at my man Gojira. I mean, just trying to hype Angurius up. I mean, once again, hashtag based pilled, am I right? When the final message of the Angurius actor fades into view, we get one final message before the video ends. Help me. But wait, chat, that's not all. There's a little transcript in the description for us to read together, okay? Storytime class. It depicts the interaction between Angurius and Gojira. The English translation is as follows.
Help me, someone help me, it hurts so much, it hurts, I can't get out, help me, oh God.
There is no God. Only me. Don't worry. I will make you whole again. You have lost your family. So take revenge. Kill those who have wronged us.
Who are you?
It's Gaji. Only Gaji.
Similar to the last episode, the third one opens up with a trailer from the Godzilla vs. Kong movie in 1962. I think it's safe to assume that King Kong is about to turn into a happy meat suit pretty soon. A poster for the King Kong vs. Godzilla movie appears, and for a brief moment, Japanese text flashes on the screen. Here's the translation. Why are we with them? With the man in the suit being the only Godzilla suit at the time, they used him for the next film. Nah. I highly doubt that. After all the money they've made off of these fucking stupid ass films, I sincerely doubt they didn't have the money to make another fucking suit, okay? They probably just weren't paying the guy. Let's just be honest. Dude was willing to jump around in that gimp suit for free, okay? And you know what? I think that's all Toho ever wanted, really. That's all they could ever ask for. That's as good as it gets. It's not often you find a man that's willing to do that for free, you know? With King Kong being an American film, the man in the suit wasn't having it. So this ties back to the Japanese message that flashed over the poster image picture thing earlier. It's pretty obvious that this is coming from the man in the suit himself, and he's asking, why are we with them? Meaning, why are we with the Americans? More on that later. This is where I come in. Dude, come the fuck on. If you're gonna put a bar over your eyes, then why even show this picture in the first place? This is preposterous. I will be hiding my eyes and my name for me and my family's safety. I was put into the job of being the cameraman. They told me what happened before and told me to stay quiet about it or I would be arrested. But the truth needs to come out somehow. The man in the suit wasn't happy making a movie with the Americans. Toho producers forced him to look more appealing to a younger audience. He wasn't happy with how this all played out. He had a very bad dislike towards the actor in the King Kong suit. I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing this name wrong. You know what? Let me go look it up. I don't want to sound like a buffoon here. How you spell it? Okay, hold on. I need to get into the habit of, like, hearing how things are pronounced before just sitting my ass down and filming. I can't fucking pronounce that. I'm gonna try my best. Shoichi Hirose, I think. Yeah, that's the guy in the King Kong suit. That took me forever. God, but, you know, it'd be so fucking funny, though, if the man in the suit make King Kong guy inflate inside of his suit and turn into King Kong man. That would be funny. I wonder if that's going to happen. He either thought that Shoichi Hirose was a traitor for portraying an American monster or saw something in him. He knew that he wasn't a big fan of the Americans. He would roar at them and try to attack them. We treated him like a lion at the zoo. And to summarize the rest of the video, Godzilla Man attack King Kong Man, much like last time, only King Kong Man didn't come out of this one alive. Apparently, the man in the suit pushed Shoichi off of a cliff and into the ocean, and it's implied that Shoichi was drowned by the man in the suit. This is when the cameraman decided to run, all the way down the long corridors of Toho's studio. That's when he heard the screams in the distance, and the power cuts off. The whole time he was using the camera flash to navigate the building, and when he heard footsteps, he assumed that it was an employee. And would you look at that, it's around the end of the video, which means that it's hidden message time. Yeah, ooh, I'm so hyped. This is what the message translates to. Traitor. I wonder what that could mean. Well, let's see the description of the video and maybe it will help us find out. Traitors. We were supposed to make a film about what happened, about what they did to my family, what they did to me. You filthy traitors. I didn't put my soul into this corpse to be played with, and with the people who killed my family. Traitors. Now, I don't even have a joke to make about this part. It's honestly quite depressing since I believe it is referencing a very real tragedy, so I just want to get that out of the way. Very sad. The cameraman behind this footage returns, more curious than ever, and in search of answers, and apparently now he's enlisted the help of one of his friends who happens to be a teacher. According to her, she had never seen anything like this. Here's just a recording of their conversation.
The thing is, whatever this was caused wasn't from a pill. This is something else. Oh, God. This is the work of radiation. Holy shit. The man in the suit doesn't fuse with the suit instantly. His body explodes in the suit, then it reshapes itself in the suit. How do I explain this? Imagine a cream-filled donut. Without the cream, it's mostly a flat donut. That was the suit before, but because of the filling. The man, it basically filled up all the space. But him and a cream-filled donut are different. The cream and donut are separate entities. There is a barrier so they don't mix. The man in the suit, however, his skin, his flesh, his bones, it's fusing with the suit. His teeth would be the suit's. Whatever he took. It's mutating him. It's making him more like a creature than a human. Soon he will have animalistic properties, like using its teeth more effectively, and would be able to control his tail. You said his eyes could move, and that they are bloodshot? But in this photo, his eyes flashed back. Human eyes don't do that. You need to try and put him down. If not, it is probably too late for mankind.
I'm sorry, how the fuck is she getting all of this information if she's just a school teacher? No disrespect to school teachers, I'm just curious, like, what fucking class is she teaching and how do I sign up for it? Like, she's describing the man in the suit like he's Michael from Vsauce or something, you know what I mean? And only Vsauce would only ever pose this much of a threat to mankind. Wait a minute. Anyways, overlooking how goofy her reaction to this was, and the of course the interesting comparison to a cream-filled donut, the cameraman is caught up on the fact that the man in the suit is mutating. He wanted to know what the man in the suit would look like after fully mutating, but alas, according to his very well-qualified friend, the mutating just wouldn't stop. She told him to go to an artist and to give the artist a description on what to draw. Very conveniently, though, the cameraman claims to have completely forgotten what this description was. The dog ate his homework, I guess. Anyways, here are the drawings. Now, right as the last image shows up, there's a dialogue that plays in the background, and it sounds like it's in a different language, potentially Japanese. However, it's way too muffled for me to even begin translating it, but if anyone wants to try their hand at it, then please be my guest. It's at the end of the 4th episode, if anyone's interested. And as always, the man in the suit is back at it again with his wacky pranks. Here's another message in the description that he wants to share with us. I am not a monster. I will help all of you. I will kill those who have wronged me, those who murdered my family, and those who supported them. You killed my family, monsters. Well, given just how smart our cameraman here is, he decided it would be a good idea to snoop around Toho headquarters in the 5th episode, probably looking for cream-filled donuts or some shit. Anyways, he found a tape labeled in Japanese, which translates to compliance test, and he soon realizes that this tape was made a few years after the Angurius incident. God rest his soul, am I right? And so he proceeds to show the tape to us. Suit trial. This tape can be viewed. Please do not share this tape. Well, thank you. Thanks for giving me permission to view the tape. I appreciate it. Anyways, here's a transcript of the tape. We are fully aware of the situation we are in. We will do our best to test what they need to hear so they can listen. We will try and do some audio tests. Let's start with the man in the suit. We have him in a cell. Make sure he is there until you can train him. He destroyed the light and only the darkness, but that's okay. We have a light. Now, in the footage that follows, it's a little bit unclear what's going on at first, but it appears to be security footage of the man in the suit locked away in a bunker somewhere. They seem to also be playing a series of audio loops over an intercom to observe how the man in the suit reacts to them. The security footage, predictably, glitches, and for a moment it almost seems like the man in the suit has disappeared. Silly you, that's never gonna happen. He's never going away, silly. But slowly but surely, the man in the suit can be seen emerging from the darkness with his perfectly boopable snoot. The Japanese text in the title translates to suit trial, and the text in the description translates to why should I listen to him? Now, the cameraman seems to have a little surprise present, as a tape was sent to him in the mail in the 6th episode. And what's worse is it doesn't seem that anyone in Toho's studio made it. Thankfully, it seems like this tape was translated for the most part. You don't understand. You killed my family. You Americans cheered when we lost. We lost our homes. We lost our families. You nuked us. The nuke took my wife. The nuke took my kids. Hiroshima was my home. I left for a business trip. You took everything from me. So I decided to return peace by getting rid of the people who wronged us. The Japanese text in the description translates to the following. You took everything from me. Now, at this point, pieces should be falling into place for most of you as far as what the man in the suit's motives are. Assuming this video was somehow made by him, which it likely was, he basically admits to the fact that his family was murdered during the Hiroshima bombings, and he is exacting his own form of revenge for that. Now, when I ask this question, I am not at all poking fun at the subject matter of this video, and I want to make that abundantly clear before saying anything. But I have to ask, how the fuck is he editing this video? Seriously. And then that is a genuine question, by the way. How is the man in the suit able to edit and mail this video when I'm assuming he's deformed now and lacks opposable thumbs? I mean, how is he also leaving these hidden messages in the description of these videos? This really doesn't have anything to do with the overall message of the series at all. It's more of a plot hole nitpick, if anything, but I'll get more into my thoughts on the overall message of this story towards the end of this video. In the 7th episode, the cameraman announces that he recently got 2 sets of mail from Toho, both of which were not professionally worded at all. One message stated how no one from Toho sent him the mysterious tape from before, even though the mailing address was from Toho, and the second one basically fired him. Somehow they caught on to the fact that he was leaking information. I wonder how. Well, I mean, couldn't have had anything to do with the fact that you showed a perfectly clear image of your face, but, you know, only the eyes were censored. But no worries, though. No worries. It definitely wasn't that. Apparently, this guy is an employee over at Rick Harrison's pawn shop, and he's got a buddy over at Toho that, you know, can take a better look at this situation for him. He just knows all these fucking people Somehow, apparently. Anyways, the unnamed buddy hands him a tape from Toho titled Dorsal Extraction. The video catalogs how Toho employees attempted to remove the man from the suit while unsure of how it was going to work. Security footage plays showing the man in the suit and someone in a hazmat type of uniform approaching him from the darkness. Much to my surprise, according to the tape, Goji was very cooperative. Apparently he wasn't able to feel pain at all. And much more to my surprise, Toho thinks the results are fantastic. Now, I know that this footage here is meant to portray something, but shit, lost in translation, man. I mean, I can't fucking see that shit. I mean, what the fuck am I supposed to do with this information? The footage stops there, and according to the spy from Toho, one of the cameramen was attacked by Goji because a camera flash hurt his eyes. Never mind the cream-filled donut part, am I right? Yeah, well, you guys probably see where this is going. The cameraman took pictures while he was running, and you get a couple of not-so-scary ones, and then bam, there he is, guys. He is looking right at you. He can see you right now, okay? And what are you gonna do when he come for you? Worry not, my children, because there's more Japanese text in the description. Here's the translation. I'm beautiful in the dark. Oh yes, of course. Slay, queen. You're doing it. Great. You're doing it fantastically. You're doing it effortlessly. You're serving. Yes. Iconic. Now, the next VHS tape discovered by the spy shows exactly what happened to the Angurius suit man from earlier. I'm sure he's fine. Probably retired in Bradenton, Florida right now. I'm sure he's doing great. Apparently, the Angurius guy did not want to be seen by anyone after being mutated in the suit, but Toho had other plans. They had big money plans, in fact. This tape ends abruptly there, and the Toho employee explains that apparently they had been working on a movie where Goji was gonna duke it out with the Angurius, but Angurius, having lost his autonomy, wasn't thrilled with the idea. A picture was taken of the Toho staff members trying to train Angurius, like an old hound dog. They even considered using tasers on the poor fuck. While the Angurius movie was indefinitely placed on hold, there was another movie in the works. Goji versus a giant moth. Mothman confirmed, chat? No, I wish that was the case, but no. More Japanese text appears in the description, which translates to, why can't they listen? I just want to be human again. Now, clearly that message comes from Angurius and not Goji. Trust me, I think Goji's, a little bit too comfortable in that that lizard suit. In the 9th episode, the former cameraman explains that he is too far deep into this case to leave Japan. If he tries, he fears he might be arrested, and conveniently enough, things have also taken a turn for the worst. Apparently, in the middle of making a movie, the man in the suit managed to escape. He knows this because sightings had been reported on the news in a local newspaper. Eyewitness reports claim to have seen a lanky and tall Godzilla roaming the streets. One night, a couple was arriving home when one of them, a photographer, decides to take a picture of the road for no apparent reason other than the fact that it looked cool. Excuse me, I'm sorry. This is one of the pictures that was captured by the camera. And again, later that night, a young boy saw a silhouette outside thinking it was Godzilla. He decided to take a picture of it. Here are the pictures. Wow, so pretty, so fun. News reporters interviewed the kid and asked him to describe and draw a picture of what he saw that night. The kid explains that he had seen the movies with his dad and knows what Godzilla is supposed to look like. The thing that he saw in the street wasn't Godzilla. He described the creature's skin as looking fake and real at the same time. Very uncanny. Yes, a little child would be saying this word, 100%. Yeah. I don't think it was a creature. It might be some man in a suit. There it is, guys. There's the name of the analog horror. It's right there. Yes, of course. World famous analog horror. Man in a suit. That's the name of it. Man in a suit. According to the kid, the man in the suit's face would also frequently change, but the kid chalks it up to lack of sleep on his end. The kid said that he did remember one of the faces and quickly drew a sketch of it. Me when it's dinner time. Me when it's time to sup. Me when it's time to dine and feast. Toho quickly tried to write this off as a promotion for their next movie and somehow stopped any more copies of the story from being printed. Now, of course, the cameraman has many questions at this point. What, where, how, when, and why? to just give you a summarization, of course. And right before the video ends, a little moth flashes on the screen. I wonder what that means. What's that referencing, guys? I don't know. The text in the description reads, "This place, the outside air, the cars, the windows, the house. Did they just move on? Will we forget?" The 10th episode opens up with distorted footage of Godzilla vs. Mothman, the musical Electric Boogaloo. Spy friend give cameraman friend more important clues. Apparently, the man in the suit escaped due to the conditions that he was kept in. He was lathered in a decadent paste to make him look like a cross between a shiny Pokemon and a rotisserie chicken. Contact lenses were also applied to hide his bloodshot eyes. He was forced to withstand high winds, dragged around, and treated like a circus animal. I mean, I don't know, based on his record, I think that dude might actually be into that shit. I think he's kind of into that shit, guys. I don't know. I think he kind of likes that. Anyways, for the Moth Extravaganza movie, Goji would be fighting a moth puppet instead of someone in a costume. The moth, named Mothra, was mistaken by Goji for a living thing. This worked out great for a while until it didn't. Toho soon realized that they needed someone to crawl inside of the larvae suit, so you can make a hyper-realistic moth puppet, but not a larva puppet. So is Goji gonna look at you with his hyper-realistic eyes and cry about it if you don't put someone in a suit? Like, this makes no fucking sense. What the fuck, man? It's pissing me off. I'm pissed. Well, they figured it would be fine because of all the security they had at the time, which has historically worked so well in the past, let me tell you. They put a female actor in the larva suit and proceeded with the film. She was so excited as this was her first time being able to act, and even invited her parents to watch. God fucking damn it, that is fucking horrible. I think you guys know how this story ends. While filming one of the scenes, the man in the suit snapped and went after the moth puppet. Realizing it wasn't a real person, he decided to go after the woman in the larva suit instead. He bites down on the actress's head, and when her parents try to intervene, they get mauled to death. Goji attempted to protect the suit, but not without security trying to get involved and also getting their asses kicked. After tasing him a couple of times, Goji snapped and barged through the security and escaped the facility. While one team was dispatched to capture Goji, another team stayed behind and attempted to get the actress out of the suit. The spy, conveniently enough, was part of the team sent to capture Goji. After an hour of searching, they found him going on a nice little stroll through the forest and enjoying the nature, which is unironically so sad. Like, he seems strangely calm, according to this episode. They described him as seeming very peaceful, which is very depressing. He was peaceful, of course, until the task force tried to capture him. Surrounded, the man in the suit started to shake with a sudden vibration sound. He started to vomit his own blood, which seemed to be boiling at the same time. But that was all for nothing, because that didn't even fucking work. Not even a splash, okay? Because they still took the creature back. The spy managed to take a picture of what was left, and yeah, that's about what I would expect, honestly. Just a big old puddle in the woods. That's good job. Anyways, when they came back to check on the actress, they found that instead of a little pupa, she turned into a big pupa. Big moth moment is about to happen very soon, and it cannot be stopped. The description contains another message, which reads, "Reborn." I wonder what that could mean. Yep, cameraman is back with even more information. Apparently, the spy passed by a room at Toho headquarters where an executive and government official were talking. This implies that Toho is in bed with big government. Oh no, that is not good. Secondly, the cocoon was being stored in one of the warehouses where it was being allowed to form. When people tried to move the cocoon, it would conveniently spray radioactive orange gas on them. So I guess they couldn't afford to ask the government for help with that one. Oh no, they just had to give up, obviously. Well, of course, you know Toho is going to be keeping that bitch. Do I even need to explain that to you? At this point, they're fucking keeping it. They love it. It's like their own child, and they have motherly instincts to it. That's disgusting. And thirdly, the scientists were also able to observe the scene of Goji's blood spasm. Instead of finding a puddle, they found an even bigger puddle. Due to the ongoing safety hazard, they decided to shut down the area. According to someone at the scene, they claimed to see an eyeball in the foaming puddle, but everyone was uncertain. Fifthly, and you guessed it, Toho is making another fucking movie. God, gotta love capitalism, am I right? Oh, good heavens. Fuck! Sixthly, the cameraman states that he received mail from one of his daughters. It appears to be a drawing of a girl, her mom, and the dad all the way on the right side of the page, where the mom looks very unhappy. On the back of the drawing is a message from the daughter saying she misses him, and a message from his wife who seems very concerned. She essentially states that she was under the impression they were only supposed to make one movie and wants to know what is going on. The former cameraman states that he misses them, but feels that he is trapped, forced to show what is going on. The last thing he has word on is a new concept art for what the next movie monster would look like, but this time he's going to intervene. At the end of the clip, we can see an image of the next movie monster, which I believe to be none other than King Ghidorah from the movie franchise, of course, world famous, world renowned. The description contains the conversation between the government official and the Toho executive, and it reads,
"We already made our deal whenever it bit into the Angurius actor.
Yeah, but we as a company don't want this anymore.
Too late. It was your fault. You made the second movie, then the one after that.
I get it, but why even keep it alive? Why do we have to keep it?
That is classified information.
But why must we keep it?
If we took it and someone sees the abomination, both of us are going to fall, but if you do it, we will be in your favor. We don't want to scare the public.
Interesting.
Besides, the deal was that we keep quiet if you supply us enough yen from your kaiju movies.
What I'm confused about is whenever you took him to do audio tests on him in 1956, there was a tape that was misplaced with a speech that angered him.
It was some sort of misinput.
You are positive?
Yes.
Why must you make our company associated with it? Like the logo and everything.
Didn't I tell you that answer?
I apologize.
Forgive him.
Just wanted to inform you that we have a script in the works about a movie with a three-headed monster.
And if you have another incident?
Don't worry, this costume will be fitted with some puppeteering. Thicker skin made of a material that he can't chomp on. We will be good.
Good, and if another incident happens, you will be stuck to make another suit for Gojira. Hire a new suit actor, make sure that suit is sanitized and clean.
And what would you do with the man in the suit?
That's classified information.
You guys see what I did there with that little pitch shift, yeah? I bet you liked that, didn't you? I bet you didn't think that I had that up my sleeve. You guys were impressed, I bet. And now we finally arrive to our last entry in the series so far. The Ghidorah suit incident. Yes, the three-headed monster that was hinted at before. Now we're talking about that. After showing us a trailer for the original 1964 movie, we are thrust straight into the action. Well, anyways, Toho had the brilliant idea of making the Ghidorah suit part puppet and part costume, you know, just to throw the man in the suit off a little bit. Why couldn't they just make it a puppet? Because they didn't want to. And they also made this suit really, really tough and really strong, like iron, like an iron lung, okay? This toughened material would mainly be used on the body, which is presumably where the actor would be hiding. Having learned from their past mistakes, they also decided to make the moth larva a puppet. Now, I'm not gonna lie, I was a little bit skeptical about this series at first, but when the camera guy said that he was gonna intervene and then a picture of a pew-pew stick appeared on the screen, oh, let me tell you. Oh, that just pulled me back in. I'm hooked. You got me on the hook and you're just pulling me. You're pulling me. Ouch, it hurts. Stop it. Yeah, that's when I let out a big hell yeah. Like I audibly screamed, hell yeah, brother, when I saw that shit. I mean, this dude literally doesn't give a shit. He knows that this son of a bitch needs to be put down like the old hound dog that he is, okay? He's taking him out to the shit. Let me not finish that sentence. Fuck. The cameraman noticed that the man in the suit's appearance changed and speculates that it might have been Toho's doing. I speculate otherwise. The Toho team was very confident and in high spirits. As a matter of fact, the man in the suit was behaving properly. You know, so that's how you know things were going very, very good, of course. But in Toho fashion, of course, they did forget to reinforce a few key parts of the suit. Since only the body was properly secured, this left the head and neck areas extremely vulnerable, and the necks were to be controlled by the puppeteer's hands. There was also a lever which allowed the actor to open the mouths of the Ghidorah puppet. In one of the shots, the man in the suit stood completely motionless. That's when the shaking started. Oh shit. oh, he's getting down. It was at that moment that the man in the suit bit down on the Ghidorah's head, and security was unable to intervene. As you probably guessed based on the foreshadowing from before, the man in the suit puked the same red liquid down into the suit and onto the actor inside. This is when the cameraman enters the studio with his pew-pew stick hidden inside of a guitar case, which is comical to me. It was then that the employees asked where he had been, which was confusing to him since he thought he had already been fired. He asked about this, and the employees explained that he never was. Ignoring this, the cameraman enters the room with the man in the suit and the Ghidorah and finds a power box. After noticing the cameraman, the man in the suit turns towards the power box and cuts out the power. Now, here is actually the first time we get any sort of cutscene footage, but it shows the cameraman running through a dark corridor. Roaring can be heard behind him the whole time, implying that the man is chasing after him. He stops suddenly, sits down the camera, and fires a few shots in the man's direction. He shows a picture of the man in the suit lying in a puddle of blood. It is then that the man in the suit lifts his head to stare directly at the camera. Distorted footage of what I'm assuming to be the man in the Ghidorah suit appears, and then a more clearer image of the costume with a message that translates to, "You can't kill God." Now, before unpacking my thoughts on this series, I want to address the elephant in the room here. The series is based on a very real tragedy, and I'm pretty sure most of my viewers know what it is. If not, then the tragedy that I'm talking about is the bombing of Hiroshima and Nagasaki, Japan on August 6, 1945. I know this because in the first few episodes of the series, Hiroshima actually appears as a location in the description of quite a few videos actually, and it gets directly referenced in the 5th episode of the series, where the cameraman gets mailed that mysterious tape. Now, with that fully addressed, I want to preface this by saying that anything critical or quippy that I say here is specifically in regard to the series and is not to make light of the actual tragedy it is based on at all, because it is just nothing short of horrific, and I just wanted to get that out of the way. Now, about the man in the suit, I know a lot of people are going to hate me for having this opinion, and God, I am so fucking sorry. Please stop. This series really has me torn for the most part. I think the overall concept is absolutely horrifying and heartbreaking at the same time, and even the visuals for it are stunning. I also love how they took actual pictures and videos from the original Godzilla movies and incorporated them into the series in such a creative and believable way. All of that is chef's kiss from me. I think it also does a fantastic job of bringing awareness to a very important issue, which is the tragedy of war, specifically the bombing of Hiroshima and Nagasaki, which I'll be getting into a little bit here shortly. But it does an excellent job of showcasing the brutality of that and its effects on the mind in a more abstract way, if that makes sense. And I just really wanted to give the creator their roses for that. My only gripes with the series, however, and this might not come as a surprise to some of you, is the overall writing and delivery of the story. At certain points, I think that the writing was very lacking in some areas, and there were also parts of the story that felt a little bit rushed, like the teacher character, for instance, who just so happens to be an expert on the subject of mutated men in reptilian gimp suits. For one, how the fuck does a random cameraman know this person? Where is she getting all this information from? And how is she able to come to all of these conclusions based on a very simple description, right? Her character also never gets mentioned again, which is super fun and hilarious, I think. And I know a lot of you guys are going to say, oh, well, she's anonymous. He's trying to protect her identity and all that stuff, right? And I get that. I do. I feel like that's a little bit of a lazy cop-out, in my opinion. I would have liked a better explanation for that part, or better yet, just leave her character out and find a better way of giving us all that information. Another thing that gets me is it's heavily implied that the man in the suit edited and mailed that tape to the cameraman in the 5th episode, and to that I have to ask how. Like, that is such a major plot hole to me, and moreover, how is he leaving hidden messages in the descriptions of these videos? And I'm assuming assuming he's also the one that wrote the note telling the cameraman that he was fired. And again, how? How the fuck is a scoliotic homunculus of a man wearing a sweaty-ass gimp suit going to do any of these things? The obvious implication here would be that there is some sort of supernatural element to all of this. And to be frank, I don't really think that pairs well with a story like this, and it kind of takes me out of it a little bit, right? Because if we're going with the very scientific explanation of radioactive cream-filled donut, then why add supernatural elements to it later on? Not that you can't do that, I'm just saying I think there was probably a better way of doing all that, just in a way that makes sense, you know? Like, make it make sense. I'm not saying that you can't, in all seriousness. It just kind of makes it a little less serious to me and more on the goofy side, right? But that's honestly just my own very stupid and dumb nitpick that no one gives a shit about. And again, I know this series was intentionally going in a more abstract direction anyways, so all of that could have been completely intentional. I totally get that. With my custom crafted Karen response out of the way, let's get into what I think is going on here. In my opinion, the series does a great job of making the man in the suit's intentions very clear to us in the very beginning. You just have to look very closely. I mean, Hiroshima is included in the description of the very first video, and there's also a message in the description that essentially describes how the man views Goji as a god and not a monster. He sees Goji as a savior, and he wants to embody that because perhaps he feels that his own country has failed him. Goji is the difference between good and evil, and for someone who has likely witnessed one of the worst tragedies on Earth, or maybe lived a part of it, then maybe this is exactly what he needs to avenge the death of his loved ones. If you guys aren't familiar with the bombing, to summarize it as best as I can here, it was a nuclear attack on Japan by the US government that literally killed hundreds of thousands of people, mostly civilians. While I unfortunately don't have the time for it in this video, I highly suggest that you check out Shrouded Hand's most recent video on the subject if you would like to better understand the severity of it. It goes into extremely graphic detail about the horrors of the bombing and the lasting trauma that it caused for the survivors. Fair warning though, if you choose to watch this video, it's extremely dark. Now, why is Goji attacking the other people in the suits? I personally feel like this can be interpreted in a number of ways, both literal and metaphorical. For one, I think that he could be trying to develop an army of sorts, just to give you a more literal interpretation. He could be trying to develop an army for some sort of planned attack against his perceived enemies. That, or this could be a representation of the cyclical nature of trauma and how it can inadvertently be spread from person to person. This one might also be a little bit of a stretch on my end, but I think the Gojira character as a whole is an excellent depiction of how trauma can reshape a person. Depending on the severity of it, it can make it almost impossible to feel like a person again, to live like a person. And even living inside your own skin and being completely cognizant can be extremely excruciating for people who have gone through such trauma, right? And it's not uncommon to want to escape that, right? Of course, people do that in various ways, and the man in the suit found his vice: a literal suit. This explains the man in the suit's implied dislike for the cameraman and his very obviously stated dislike for Americans during his time on the set of the King Kong movie. And I think this again also emphasizes the fact that he feels betrayed by his own country. He asks, why are we working with them? And at one point in the series, he asks something along the lines of, did everyone just move on? He feels like the people around him were too quick to forget about this tragedy, and in many ways he feels alone, which I can't blame him for feeling that way, to be honest. This could also be a motivation for why he mutilates the other actors on the set. Perhaps he wants them to feel his pain too. He doesn't want them to forget. One of the saddest parts in the series for me, in my opinion, is the part where the man in the suit tried to escape and they caught him wandering around in the woods almost at peace. I think a part of him wants to move on. A part of him wants to forget and learn how to live again. But there are so many aspects of his life that just keep re-traumatizing him over and over again. Hence why he feels like he can't dig out of the pit that he's in. The last thing I want to touch on on is the mutation of the man in the suit. It was implied that he intentionally consumed some type of radioactive substance that caused him to explode inside the suit, and I think that this is really heartbreaking because based on what little I know about the tragedy, this sounds very similar to some of the injuries that people in Hiroshima experienced. Many of the victims that weren't immediately killed by the impact suffered from severe radiation poisoning, complete loss and even melting of the skin, vomiting, and intense bleeding, which I know that last part is obvious, but to me the man in the suit's symptoms almost seem like a very exaggerated version of that. Even though he did not directly witness or even experience the bombing firsthand, he did still suffer from the trauma of losing his family to it. Their pain and suffering is something that he is forced to live with every single day. I gotta hand it to the creator of the series. They really did an excellent job bringing awareness to how horrific the bombing of Hiroshima and Nagasaki really was, and ensuring that it isn't forgotten in the modern day. I highly recommend that you guys go check out their work if you haven't already, and keep your eyes open for future episodes as well. I'll try my best to do the same on my end, and I will also keep you guys updated if anything else comes out. Thanks for watching as always, and until next time.